Hey everyone, have you ever wondered what would happen if you gave an animal a firearm? Well, wonder no more, because for the last 20 years, we know exactly what would happen.
Fur Fighters, a game made by Acclaim in 2000 for the Sega Dreamcast. The game was also ported to PC in late 2000, PS2 in 2001, and iOS in 2012. Anyway, the game did pretty good with reviewers, all of which giving it an average of around 80%, which is strange, seeing that the game's all about animals with guns. So booting up the game, all I have to say is, man, that is a title screen. After that, we learned that this game takes 51 blocks to save, so now it's time for me to start complaining. What the heck? So a typical Dreamcast VMU has about 200 blocks on it. So that means it takes up 1/4 of the entire memory card, which is absolutely ridiculous. Excluding the Chow Gardens, both Sonic Adventure games combined take up 28 blocks. So, too bad if you want to save any other games on that VMU, because you will not have the space left for it. Anyway, now that I'm done complaining, let's pick our character. We have Rufus, a 9-year-old dog from Glasgow, Scotland. Juliet, a 4-year-old cat from Paris, France. Bungalow, a 5-year-old kangaroo from Alice Springs, Australia, also known as the most remote area on the Earth other than Wyoming. Tweak, a 0.002-year-old dragon from a place that I can't find in Wales. Side note, I think giving him a gun is considered child endangerment, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Next is Rico, a 5-year-old penguin from Tierra del Fuego, Argentina. And finally we have Chang, a 5-year-old something from Hong Kong. And now that we have our wild cast of characters established, let's move over to the game. And now that I'm actually in the game, I now get to complain about the controls. Dear God, who thought this was a good idea? So the analog stick is used for aiming, the face buttons are used for moving, the D-pad is used to switch weapons. The only control that makes sense in this game is that the right trigger is shoot. But then that whole making sense thing goes out the window when it's revealed that left trigger is jump. And if this sounds horrendous to you, that's because it is. Now, at least once you figured it out, you can adapt to the controls pretty well, which is something that you cannot do in Frogger the Great Quest, which is the only game that I've played that has weirder and worse controls than this. Now, getting over the controls, do I have anything else to complain about? Yes. Oh, yes, I do. So, this game tries to be so many things at once. It tries to be a shooter, platformer, and collectathon all at the same time. Which, by the sounds of it, is cool, but it means that the game fails at all three of these aspects. The shooter aspect fails because gunfights don't take any strategy. It's literally you just run up to them and shoot them with a shotgun. Then, we have the platformer aspect, which, if you didn't understand from me whining about the controls, is miserable. Thankfully, there isn't a whole lot of it in the game, but it still isn't fun when it's in there. Then, finally, we have the worst part, being the collectathon aspect. Now, the main collectible is babies, which is pretty weird, but when you get a game with a dog with a handgun, I don't expect anything else. Anyway, you have to collect all the babies, and the worst part about it is that you have to be all the different characters to collect them. For example, if you're the kangaroo, you can't collect a cat baby. You have to go find the cat to save the cat baby. Then we have these golden pyramids you collect, which I couldn't find a purpose for, so I think they're just there to exist. But anyway, let's move away from the single player and talk about the multiplayer. And yes, there is a multiplayer. Now, what is this multiplayer, I hear you asking? Well, have you ever played Call of Duty? Yeah, it's like that, but really bad.
And that was Fur Fighters, an extremely weird game about animals with guns. And you know, I now can't get the idea out of my head that, what if I make my own Fur Fighters?
perfection.